I'd like to call to order the meeting of August the 8th, and if everybody would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If the clerk would please take the roll.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Mosherak.
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Here.
Councilmember Ruiz. Mayor Rapp.
Here. Do you have the minutes from the regular meeting of July the 11th? Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved, Madam Chair. Support.
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Mosherak. Is there any changes to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes will stand as submitted. Public hearings, number 1, please.
To hear comments on the Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report for the 2021 program year.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on this public hearing on the Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report known as CAPER? Seeing no one, declare public hearings closed, and I will move on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the City Council this evening? Then please come forward and give us your name and where you live, and 4 minutes is your time.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Name's Ken Harris, live at 1521 Wells Street, Port Huron, Michigan. The Harrison Point neighborhood, I guess, is one of my first thoughts as we're looking here tonight and talking to my neighbors that own and live around there. As you know, we had a multiple amount of police enforcements there today, and we just got discussing some of the issues that are going on, and the Harrison neighborhood just kind of taking a little step backward, and I guess that's maybe something we start looking forward to. I know I've installed some personal alarms and stuff like that, but I mean, it's just something I think we have to look at. And while we're talking about that, I want to commend the Times Herald, the article about our retirees, but I guess the one thing that kind of perturbed me only a little bit about our retiring police officers is the fact that I'd say a small minority of them have basically said that they don't want to give up their law enforcement career, and they want to go someplace else to do it. And I hope that's not the case. I mean, these people have done a lot for the city of Port Huron, and if there's a way to keep them, I'd just like to say that somehow we got to figure that out. I guess the other thing that part of, and I know it was public audience before, but I didn't look at the agenda, and shame on me for not looking ahead of time. But the CAFR report is an extensive document, and I think if maybe the next time we put some highlights in this message here to let people know. You know, I know that one of the parts is getting some of the CDBG money was SUNS, and the SUNS have gone into a transition period. They've shifted their focus from one place to another place, and now the place that they're at now is for sale. So it's an indication Port Huron School District has put Harrison School up for sale. So I think that affects our report, whether it be the CAPER or whatever. And not lastly, but under the city managers tonight, items number 1 and 3. The only thing that I would ask for in that is maybe we get a little more visual placement of where this work's going to go. The Griswold Street project's kind of easy to look at, that we can figure it out. But the other projects, I think it's under number 3. It just kind of lumps everything as a massive project. It's going to cost us a lot of money. But let me remind you, that we pushed Gratiot Avenue back a year. We pushed Lapeer Avenue back year after year after year, and we don't know when that's going to be done. I know Al Jowett told me that it was going to be done this summer, but it's not going to get done this summer. And I guess that's just one of the things that we need to kind of highlight to the people, that we're going to do this before we do some other projects. And finally, I guess what really kind of bothers me is the fact that this $350,000 is going to go to the 12th Street dock. That's almost $500,000 or just shy of that. But the fact is, this plot or remedy or this anomaly that we want to fix is right in the middle of the biggest 3 blocks, the worst 3 blocks of concrete pavement in the city of Port Huron, and that's the 10, 11, and 1200 block on Water Street. I think we have to draw our attention to that before we start putting more boats in the water. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the city council this evening?
Good evening, council. My name is Sandra King. I live at 2110 Thornhill Street, Port Huron, Michigan. I'm here in regards of Robert Knox. I'm his granddaughter. I don't know if anyone knows him. I have a picture of him.
No.
Knoxville.
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to ask if you could put this picture out there or a copy of it at Knoxville so everybody will know who he is, you know, by the name.
You want the picture out at Knoxville?
Yes.
I don't know if there's a spot, but we can look into it. If you want to leave can you leave the picture with us? And
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
And then
to
we
take
will
care
look
of
into
this
it.
is gold.
We will not do anything with the, yeah.
Okay.
Is that the only copy you have?
I have another smaller copy.
Okay. Nancy Windsor, our Parks Director, she'll get your phone number. We'll get with you and get a copy of it.
Okay. I'd like to ask one other thing. Is there possible that you could put a walking area out there? I've been walking around the baseball field for years, and I've got to skip this and skip that. And I just feel we need a walking area out there. I'm a senior, and I've been walking a long time.
Okay, we will note that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Maybe Nancy, can you get that from her? Yeah, yeah.
Julian Ruck, 1423 Lapeer, Polly's Place. So I'd like to piggyback a little bit off what Ken Harris is saying about the Harrison Point neighborhood. It's pretty rough, you know, and I think a lot of people might look at it as the people in that neighborhood are what makes it rough. But that comes with the perspective that poverty is a mistake someone made, and that's not accurate. Poverty is caused by one thing: wealth. That's it. You can't have somebody have excess without somebody else having less. And right now, Polly's Place is feeding dozens of people in the community off a lot that I purchased, crowdfunding, my own money, and there are also dozens of people around the country that have been following this journey that also donate. Recently, there was an ag teacher at a high school in another part of Michigan that just funded some work clothes for a teenage boy that helps us in the garden sometimes. And I don't know if you're embarrassed by that at all, that Port Huron is seen as a place for other communities to show support for and in need of outreach. So the Harrison Point community neighborhood is just 50 blocks. Ending hunger in that 50 block neighborhood is actually a pretty easy thing to do. And when I tell you that I figured out on Polly's Place how to reallocate waste that the neighborhood creates into raised garden beds that don't even need irrigation. During this drought, I haven't watered the garden once. And it's blooming and booming. Given plenty of poundage to the soup kitchen. There's a recovery house for women nearby. We support them a lot. When their children come through, they come and play in the garden. We now have people gathering 3, 4, 5 times a day. I have people come in the garden, strangers, people from outside of this community who have seen our work online, who've traveled to Port Huron to check out Polly's Place themselves. And so far as I know, once last summer, James Freed was there, and he sent me an email saying the garden looks amazing, and then otherwise ignored me for a year. Councilmember Ashford visited us in this past month. Last month I came here asking for your curiosity, and you're just not paying attention. And I don't know what more to do. I don't want to be here at every meeting. You probably don't want to hear me. every meeting. But kids are going hungry. Kids are running drugs for their parents in that neighborhood, right? And that's not a moral shortcoming from the community at large. That's lack of opportunity, lack of support, and lack of awareness. There's only two possible answers to why you haven't responded to what we're doing at Polly's Place. We're going to our third season growing in this community. And it's either ignorance, you just don't know, or maliciousness. That's it. Those are your only options. Either you're not aware that we can end hunger in this community by reallocating our waste. You don't understand how that works, which is fine. I've been gardening 20 years, maybe some of you haven't. Or you do know, and you're stonewalling us anyway. It's not the community's fault they're in this position.
You're
Done.
okay, thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening?
Good evening. I'm Greg Whittikin, 327 Huron Avenue, owner of a Leafy, also a resident downtown. There's a few things I'd like to touch on. This is my second time to one of the meetings. I'm really glad that I'm engaged now and part of this. First of all, we have a downtown collective business group that meets once a month at the beginning of the month, and we met last Wednesday, and I felt very bad for our DDA, Natasha, who was, for lack of better words, bullied by some other business owners, which I'm not proud of. Bullied because of the way things were run for Blue Water Fest. You know, you had people complaining, business owners complaining about this, complaining about that, and it was almost like she was backed into a corner, and I felt very bad for her. I think Natasha did a great job. Yes, my business is right there where the street fair was. I mean, did we benefit from it? Maybe not, but I still think that she did the best she could. And I think moving forward, if some of you could come to some of those meetings and speak up with her, because I don't want to see her go. I think she's doing a tremendous job. Cynthia did a great job too, and now we have Natasha, and I don't want to see anything happen to her because, you know, she's a great asset for downtown. Moving forward with that, summer's almost over, and I know you guys have heard me complain about bikes and motorized bikes. We really need to look at next summer how we can fix these motorized bikes on these sidewalks. I have video of motorized bikes, mopeds, and mini bikes on our sidewalks. We can't have that, guys. We have customers, we have business owners who are going to get hit, and something very bad is going to happen. Lastly, now that I live downtown, I really enjoy it. We got to do something. And Mr. Freed, I know that you're dealing with a limited police force. We've got to do something about the speeding downtown. It's out of control. I'm sure a lot of you have been down at the plaza. You've seen these cars, whether it's driving 40, 50 miles an hour or driving right through red lights. Every day it happens. I think that we've got to figure out a way to get police force down there a couple times a week to start making examples of someone. I don't know what else to do. But it is just out of control. So hopefully we can get together and make something happen. Also, Mr. Freed, if you would have a minute after the meeting, I'd like to find out how we can go about maybe creating a downtown chamber for the downtown businesses. I know that we've got the Blue Water Chamber. They do a great job. But I think if it's possible, if we can form some type of a downtown chamber where we can all work together and maybe take a lot of that stress off a person like Natasha or someone else who's trying to do all that stuff and answer all those questions, I would be more than happy to be a big part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
My name is Grant Smith, and I've been here for 67 years. And been in the health insurance business for 44 this September, and love this town with all my heart. I know almost everybody, just a little bit on Cindy, but I know everybody here fairly well for many, many years. And I did extremely well in the health insurance business, and I am paying back as best I know how to the community in which I love and was brought up in a variety of ways. And I developed a media company called GBS Media, and it is filming, and I pay for 98% of everything. And we go out to promote the area, as Mayor Pauline Rep can attest, as we did the Tuskegee Airmen first class job, which I paid for. And we also paid for, and thanks to Mr. Freed, Joseph Platzer, publicly acknowledged, does a tremendous job. We have 25, 30 shows now on Blue Water Healthy Living, and was approved by James Freed. And we want to thank you for your involvement and to bring the police individually closer to the community, so they're not strangers and foreigners and somebody we just don't like, because they do a tremendous job here in our community. And I'd like to acknowledge this young man right here also. My father, who died 2 or 3 years ago, was instrumental in the Harrison School District, which I will remember to the day I die. And that school was falling apart. It was old beyond unimaginable, horrible school. The neighborhood was falling apart. Drugs, break-in, alcoholism, incest, you name it, it was there. My father went in there, organized the PTA, and got the plans built, went to the Port Huron Area School District with the parents, and got that school built the way it is. It's now a developmental something, I'm not sure what it is. But it was an incredible institution, thanks to my father, who built that, had the vision and the guts to go out and take truth to power and get the job done. Now, this young man is trying to do something about that area. I'll tell you something that I'm not real proud of in our community. Colonial Woods Missionaries Church, among 2 other churches in German heritage, were in there. They were part of that neighborhood way back in the day. It's called a missionary church, okay? I have a lot of friends there. But they moved up to the north end of Port Huron. They call them Colonial Bucks Church. They're looking for missions. They're looking for missions outside this country with people we don't even know. We don't know the language, period. We have missions right here in Port Huron, Michigan, right where they came from. And you have said it perfectly, what's going on in this town. We have this area full of problems, and we ignore it, all of us. Churches in particularly. What better mission do we have than go a mile and a half and find all these problems and just walk by it? We have school lunch programs. We have Operation Transformation, who does jail ministries.
Grant,
Is that it?
yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that wishes to address the council this evening? I'll declare public comment closed. We will go on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Lamb, and we will take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherek?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes, just 3 items on the consent agenda. Approved qualified licensed establishments into the Port Huron Social District and recommend applicants be approved by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. Recommend the Michigan Liquor Control Commission approve above all others the application of Bootleggers Axe Company LLC at 401 Clay Street for a Class C license pursuant to Public Act 501 of 2006, and confirm the mayor's reappointment of James Fisher and Thomas Gaffney to the Planning Commission for terms to expire August the 11th, 2025. Did I miss one? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I kind of skipped by there. Thank you. From the Director of Finance, received and filed notification that the annual conflict of interest statements have been reviewed and no discrepancies have been noted. And we will go to, from the City Manager, item 1.
Accepting the bid from Body Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $2,443,404.61 for the Griswold Street I-69 water main replacement and resurfacing project.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Support?
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Lamb. Mr. Freed, are you going to give us a little
Yeah,
information
Madam Mayor
on
and
that?
Council, we had budgeted for the city's portion to be about $900,000. It actually came in about $2.1 million. What's not shown here is that because this is an MDOT trunk line, MDOT will be contributing $344,000 of that cost for the mill and refill of Griswold when we are completed. The reason for the cost being slightly higher is actually due to water main costs. Water main costs are about 30% from what we estimated.
And this goes all the way from Military to 24th Street, correct?
From 6th to 16th.
Oh, no, okay, I see this. Okay.
Yes.
6 to 16th?
Yep.
Yeah, I was reading the whole end of the book. Any questions?
I have the timeline on this, Shane?
This fall.
This fall? Okay. And then I see we're keeping the same MO because we are being allowed to do a whole lot that we wouldn't normally have to pay for doing. So this still is a good kind of like partnership in here. So that's
Correct.
great to see on behalf of our taxpayers.
Any other questions, comments? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes?
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 2.
Accepting the bid from Body Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $349,767 for the 12th Street Boat Launch Parking Lot Reconstruction Project.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, is there a second? Councilmember Mosherak?
Madam Mayor and Council, the 12th Street boat launch is probably one of our worst conditions of boat launches we have. It sees tens and thousands of users every single month who pay a permit fee to launch their boat there. A lot of the complaints how we're paying a permit fee, and it's essentially just rubble at this point. We are using ARP funds, lost revenue dollars. ARP funds, lost revenue cannot be used for road funding. So it's not like we can take this money and transfer it to the street funds to address Water Street. That would be illegal under the American Rescue Plan Act. So this is general fund money that's been relieved because of lost revenue, and this is an equitable use due to economic development that boat launch brings. It brings in thousands of people to our community every year. We have done Riverside boat launch a few years ago at a cost of about $600,000. So this is actually a pretty decent deal, but it is a smaller lot.
Do any of the monies from what they received for their permits, does that go toward it at all?
That'll go for the maintenance on it. And if people remember last year, our Parks Department spent all winter actually rebuilding the docks at the 12th Street boat launch. The docks are in really good condition, as well as the Riverside boat launch, and that's one of those winter projects that we do in-house, and they did a very nice job.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah, so to make this much clearer, so the ARP money is just really basically bringing this more up to par as an investment in that area, is that correct?
It's one of our keynote tourism sites, and it's in ruins right now.
Okay, and I know we have used our ARP money in a diversity of ways, and so this is, I guess, the first of the kind I've seen of this one, so, okay. And the timeline on this one?
It should be done by next spring.
Next spring? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 3, please.
accepting the bid from Ace Saginaw Paving Company in the amount of $1,377,616.28 for the 2022 mill and resurfacing project.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald.
Support.
Councilmember Lamb.
Madam Mayor and Council, we will begin repaving some of the initial work that was done under the CSO work in the 90s, specifically to put a geographical fence around this work scope. It is between 10th and 16th Street and between Cedar and Oak. And what we'll do is milling and resurfacing these streets. These streets are in relatively poor condition now because they're starting to break up. The sub-base is still good. By milling and filling them, we protect the infrastructure to make them last longer. It's part of our asset management strategy. We don't wait until the base is so bad that it needs a complete reconstruct. The mill and fill is part of the asset management plan. And the reason why we're doing these streets is because these are the first ones to get done way back in the day, so they're the first ones that need replaced.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
Councilmember Mosher.
James, has Ace Saginaw done work for us before? I don't recall the name. Have they worked?
Yes, in previous years they have.
Okay.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yeah, and we, the criteria that was used, I know you said before, but is this part of the PASER program?
It is.
that we have, that we check off, and what that is?
Yep, you can go on.
To our public?
Yep, absolutely. You can go on porthuron.org/open government, and you'll see a data analysis of every street in the city. And we use that data-driven approach to select which roads will be repaired, which roads will be reconstructed, and which roads will have asset management strategies implemented on them. The reason why we do that is we can't take the politics of it. We follow the data. You know, we just don't come and tell us which street needs to be done. We follow the data, do which ones needed the worst. So you can go online and look at that map, and you can see all the red that we'll be doing.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's important always to put that out there, so to be more transparent to people that we're not just doing something because James Freed lives on this street, so we're going to do his street. So it puts it right out in the middle that the need is there.
Yep. And if you go on the map, you can see the streets we'll do in the following year and the year after that.
Right. Okay, thank you.
And just as, because it was brought up before and we're talking about streets, the Gratiot project was put off because the bids were so high, and wasn't it the state has some monies going into that too?
Correct. So the bids came more than 20% over budget. I think it's actually like 24% or something like that over budget. And that automatically triggers a revisit by the state of Michigan. So we had to delay that project while MDOT allocated more funding to us.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Mosher,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 4.
Accepting the quote from Close Quarters Tactical LLC in the amount of $25,515.15 for the purchase of 19 tactical single less lethal launchers for use by the police department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support. Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Ashford.
Madam Mayor and Council, as part of our use of force strategies, we also have less lethal tactical measures such as beanbag guns. The beanbag guns we're actually phasing out. If you remember, infamously, several of our officers won Officer of the Year awards from the POAM for utilizing less lethal force and disarming a man with a machete. That dash cam made statewide news. Our officers never want to use lethal force. They want to protect human life, even those who are having mental health issues and those who are vulnerable. These will replace the beanbag guns with essentially a weapon that shoots like a foam bullet. It can be used at much closer ranges and much farther ranges, up to 75 yards. But this will allow our officers, whether it's someone who's suicidal, someone who wants, suicide by police or something like that, the officers have an option when a taser doesn't work and a gun maybe not be the appropriate measure. So this gives our officers that life-saving option to use less deadly force.
Any questions?
I will just say again, Chief Platzer has done a remarkable job seeking funding out because of his relationships. Him and his team did an excellent job filing for the DOJ burn grant. His team wrote that grant, filed that grant, handled all the paperwork. They've done an excellent job. Chief and our prosecutor have an excellent working relationship, and Chief was able to meet with the prosecutor using the forfeiture fund to fund the difference. So kudos to Chief for getting funding for the needs of his department.
Yes, thank you. Anybody have any questions, comments?
He looked on my paper and he knew I was going to say something about that. But anyway, so it's a good thing. So we're not paying for this as a council, but you did your due diligence in seeking out funding, you know, saving us some dollars up here. But even if that was such as the case, that I don't think there was a time up here that you had brought something before us that we did not pass to make sure that our officers had the equipment to do the job. So that's one thing that we don't want to, you know, take shortcuts on, and that is making sure that our police department is highly equipped to do the job, the best job you can to keep us safe. So thank you so much for what you do. You're welcome.
Thank you. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes?
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We'll move on to resolutions. Number 1.
Authorizing 14 payments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Mosrak, is there a second?
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, any questions on any of the payments? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes?
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 2.
Approving the development project agreement with the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund to receive grant funding in the amount of $100,000 for the purpose of constructing new play equipment, nature trail, bike path, and park amenities at Sanborn Park, and authorizing a $105,000 local match.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Pemberton.
Madam Mayor and Council, we have Parks Director Windsor here who would like to update you on this.
Mayor Rep, City Council. I don't know if I'd like to update you, but
I will.
we did have our neighborhood meeting with Sanborn neighborhood. Kind of talked about some of the changes. Saw the new bike path that was put in with the Wilson dollars there. This will be looking at the park as a whole. I don't know that we have a full plan yet, but we want to update the playground equipment, which is very aging like a lot of ours, and make it more of a nature theme, and also expand on the bike trail because it has been very popular, and to put some interpretive signage in there within the nature trail, which was something that the neighbors asked for in the neighborhood. And also, depending on where we land, kind of look at parking there as well. Just because I know with SC4 there and stuff, parking has been an issue. So those are some of the things we're looking at. We don't have a foolproof plan yet, but this basically is just kind of moves us in the direction to start do the planning and accepts the DNR grant that we applied for. So,
What's the timing, do you think?
you're probably looking for a whole another year at least. Equipment is very slow coming, so I'm not gonna make any promises just yet, so. But, because by the time they accept this and DNR moves a little bit slower than our normal process, but we'll hope for maybe next fall. How about that?
Sounds good. Any questions?
No, so you're just embellishing upon what's already in there, just to make it
Yes.
more pop-wise, because it's a beautiful, beautiful project.
Yes, and we had a very nice turnout with the
Yeah.
neighbors, as you know, that came
Yep,
here.
you did.
That was it,
And, and it was, they had a lot of good feedback as well.
Right.
One of their big things was to make sure we kept, obviously the trees, and we're not planning on touching any of that. Like you said, we're
Right.
basically looking at refurbishing what's already there.
Great job.
Any questions?
Mayor Rep.
Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to give kudos to you and your team for the wiffle ball field at 16.
Yeah, I didn't want to reveal that. Are you ready?
Took me 3 less tries to hit the ball than our city manager, just so everybody knows.
We'll be having when we have the ribbon cutting, there will be a tournament, so get your teams together now. I don't want anyone to take the good players.
Thanks so much.
Wiffle ball. Wiffle ball.
Yes.
Nancy, I too just want to say thank you. The nature trail is fabulous. But I really appreciate that you always take the time to have those neighborhood meetings and include the neighborhood and get their input and know what they want, because they're the ones always using it. So thank you for always including them.
We try, for sure.
Anything else?
Yeah, just, you know, I don't know, on the last page, the signatures, I see it, you know, always approved by, and I know that you actually represent the council. I just wanted, Sherry's name is down here as Mayor Pro Tem. Is there something different we doing?
That's just a typo, no.
Oh, okay, well, you know I'm gonna read my stuff here, okay? Look, I was just, I said, well, where does she go? Okay.
Yeah, why am I not signing it, right?
Yeah, I said, why she not? I said, she didn't have booted out already? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. Thanks, Cindy. No, it was no thing. It's just that when something is different, I want to know just what's happening here.
You would have noticed, I guess, when you went to sign.
I would have when I went to sign it.
Yeah, well,
I can't sign Sherry's name.
okay.
So, if there's nothing else, we'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, under ordinances number 1.
Second reading and enactment. An ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 1 generally, Section 52-162 map of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances to rezone the property generally described as the 2400 block of 10th Avenue from an R1 zoning district to a C1 zoning district.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Support?
Councilmember Ashford and Councilmember Mosrak. Is there any comments, questions? This is for a second reading, so we did have it before us at the last meeting. We will take the vote.
Excuse me.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, that concludes our regular agenda. Several announcements. Rockin' in the Rivers concert series continues on Thursday throughout the month of August out here at Kiefer Park. City offices will be closed on Monday, September the 5th for Labor Day. And because we only have one meeting per month in the summertime for July and August, our next regular meeting will be September the 12th. On September the 11th, the 911 service that's held each year will be held at 9 a.m. at the International Flag Plaza, and I encourage people to go to that. It's a very nice memorial service. Is there anything else to come before us?
You know, not really. I just do want to just thank our public, you know, Pine Grove, all the construction that was going on, and how people were just tolerating one another. You know, it was like a nightmare sometimes. You know, you didn't know where you were driving down Pine Grove. And I knew I was in the wrong spot because I didn't see nobody else over there. I go, oh, crap. But anyway, it's just, it's beautiful now.
Yeah.
You can go up and down, and I'd be glad I can turn on to Holland. I still can't turn on to Holland. But I just think that we should just take some time to thank our public, you know, for, you know, helping tolerating, you know, all that kind of inconvenience during that time of construction. Because they did, things could have been bad, but they weren't, you know, you didn't get a lot of, you know, kickback from that. So I just want to thank everybody for their patience.
Yeah, it's been going on since April.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Big time.
Anything else to come before the council? If not, I'll have a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So move.
Meeting adjourned.